Get in the other, go to the picture.
Welcome everybody to the full moon. I think I'm live now. That's exciting. This is Lorraine, the Lunar Queen. I believe I should be talking now. Hopefully it's okay that I'm starting. I know that there were people waiting on Patreon for us, and hopefully we have more people joining us. I'm saying to everybody, we have a lot of people here with us tonight in person too. And I was just saying that I could feel everyone. So last time we had our new moon in Capricorn, and we had people from Oregon, Florida, and tonight we have Georgia. We have somebody from Georgia actually here. Now I would like to say she just specifically came for this, but no, she came for other things too. But still, she's here. So we've got people here from everywhere. It's the full moon in Leo. The Leo full moon actually happened, I'd say, I want to say it happened at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, but with a full moon, the energy is going to be most powerful 2 days before and 2 days after, actually 3. So we have like a 7-day window of moon energy. And you could say that today is like the height of the moon energy. So we're on Patreon, and I would think you would know that if you're watching on Patreon, then you would know we're on Patreon. And you know, there's a couple things I want to mention that are pretty important, but not absolutely necessary that you know. But just in case you don't know, there is a grimoire on Patreon. So if you look on that link that was sent out before, and if you actually just go on Patreon, you'll see there is a grimoire that we're adding to every new and full moon. So what it does is it gives you an idea of the themes that we're going to be working with, you know, at the different lunations, and it also gives you timeline links. And now I don't have this in front of me. I'm going to try to remember. I noticed that as we started working with this grimoire at the new moon on January the 6th, I'm feeling a connection to time more than I did before. Doesn't mean I'm on time, but it's just that it means that when we do this work, it's fun, it's magic. When we do this magical work, it goes out to the future, and I also feel it affects our whole timeline. So there's some mentions of that in the grimoire. If you're looking at the grimoire right now, there's also some guidance in the grimoire on Patreon about what you can do to journal and contemplate before this magic starts. Even though we are starting very soon. There's so much I want to cover. So, you know, we'll do the actual magic towards the end. But one of the things that we were contemplating was very Leo themes, very Leo-based themes. So the idea is with Leo. Now I'm going to laugh too. I want to just mention a little personal information I will reveal. So the last new moon was in Capricorn, and my moon is in Capricorn. And now this full moon is in Leo, and my rising sign is Leo. And by the way, we've got a ton of Leos here today. So we got a lot of Leos in the house. I don't know how many we have on Patreon, but you're a Leo for today, because when the Leo full moon is shining, all the themes connected to it are shining. Oh, and if you're part of, I just want to mention, if you're part of Lunar Fair Fam, you can type in comments on Patreon, but you do have to have that. That is not, because of Patreon, it's not free. You pay like a very tiny monthly fee of like $7 or something. So some of you can type, and some of you can just think really loud, and maybe I'll hear you, or you can write me afterwards, or on Instagram, I'm at Lunar Queene. You can let me know how you're feeling the Leo full moon. But some of the themes that everybody feels today is connected to royalty. You know, the Leo is the lion, and the lion is royal, and the lion is also very focused on the self. And so what I suggested that you do to contemplate, and you can, if you're looking at the grimoire, you'll know more, things that you're ready to let go of that stop you from shining, whether those are relationships or whether those are just energies that you're holding that you need to let go of. These are some things that you can contemplate at this full moon. But also, I suggested you could create a piece of art, because Leo's very creative. I'm going to get into this in a little while, but you could have a piece of art or an object or something to represent what you want to shine out into the world. So you could be a Leo for today. Now, for those of you who are with us at the new moon, I just want to say what I'm going to share what I brought. I brought my knot. I thought that was a cool idea. So I brought my knot and I made a new knot to add to what I wanted at the new moon, because I'm going to tell you, I am seeing results since our new moon in Capricorn. And those of you who didn't join us, you can watch. It's all on Patreon, so you can go back. But this is really the hero's journey. And so I'm using my new knot to represent what I wish to create at this full moon. And, you know, with the full moon, it's a little different than new moon energy, but it is also a time where you can release and manifest. So we're going to cover a lot today. Now, I'm going to monitor the people that are watching. They're here, but you can't see them. If they start falling asleep, I'll go to the next topic. But there's so much I want to talk about. I'm not even sure where to begin. I want to
give you old wrap it up, Lorraine.
yeah, a nice subtle wrap it up. Or maybe you could get like a big Leo like cane and just kind of like the Live at the Apollo when you used to do that.
Oh, we have a Leo in the comments waving at us. Oh. If Miss Moon is a Leo, welcome.
Yay, welcome Leos. Welcome Leos. I don't know about you, but I've had a bit of a time the past few days. But we'll get into that too. You know, it's not necessarily a terrible thing. It just is. You know, the moon is an amplifier. So I'm definitely feeling the amplification the past few days. Okay, so let me say that I want to cover a little bit about the journey, the bigger picture of the journey of the moon. I want to talk a little bit about the Cazimi, because it's important. I've already said this, I'm not an astrologer, but the stars do have an impact on how we flow in life. Now, they are not meant to restrain us or limit us. I'm going to talk about that too. So, you know, if you are reading astrology and getting exasperated, I recommend you get a personal astrologer anyway. Have somebody do your chart, because it'll probably be more empowering that way. The stars are there to help us to understand the virtue, measure, order, and degree of our soul and how it connects to the universe. I know that's a mouthful. It just basically means that the stars are there for us to get a deeper understanding of who we are. But they're not there to limit us. So in a way, if you believe in free will, which I do, maybe you chose some of the stars that you came in on. Like you came down a map into the physical from pure spirit energy. And so the way the stars are working with you may be a little exasperating. I've been a bit exasperated, I must confess. However, we chose that journey. And you know, I mentioned this at the new moon in Capricorn, that journey is for us to have joy. And joy can be found through authenticity. So really, even when you're feeling like how many times can I die and be reborn kind of thing, which you might be feeling, it's so we grow. You know, we're not really on this journey to be comfortable. We're here to be in a little bit of discomfort, because, you know, think about how a pearl is created. It's through irritation, or how a lotus grows. It's from the mud. So this is part of a little bit of the energies that I'm going to talk about today that are connected to Pluto, and that are connected to some of the oppositions that are going on during this full moon. So we're going to talk a little bit about astrology. You want to go deeper, you're going to need to go to an astrologer. But I will tell you, if you know your rising sign, I'm going to go through Pluto and where it's affecting you. If you don't know your rising sign, you know, there are a lot of astrologers that if you give them 10 major life events, they'll tell you what your rising sign is. I'm not an astrologer, but that's, I think, pretty cool if you don't know the time. So after we do astrology, I want to talk a little bit about the archetype. And this archetype is very connected to the numerology of this year. So if you were at the new moon, you're going to see the continuity. And if you were not at the new moon, you can look at it on Patreon and go back and go through, because all of these magics that we're doing, it's not like they're only relevant for a day. Remember, these open up gates of time. So you can go backwards and forwards, as our grimoire gets bigger, you can go backwards and forwards and work with these different magics that we do each moon. So we're going to talk a little bit about the archetype, and then we're going to go into the spell. But I'm just going to repeat it one more time, is today we're focusing on how we want to shine in the world and what gets in the way of our shine in a nutshell. So while I'm talking, you can, if you haven't journaled or contemplated that, you can start thinking about, how am I really shining? What do I want to cultivate? And where are the obstacles for me? What do I need to let go of so that I can be at my highest capacity? And what do I want to grow and cultivate, or what do I want to shine with? Could be something totally new. It could be something that you're already doing. So it's definitely connected to solar power, even though it's lunar power. The Leo energy is ruled by the sun. So if you think about the house of the sun, it's all about shining and honoring. And it's very personal and emotional. So I know I mentioned in Capricorn that, once we got into Aquarius, it would be a little bit more of the macrocosm. Well, today is both, because we're gonna focus on ourselves. It's not selfish to focus on yourself. Before you can really shine, you have to look at where you are right now. And Leo really encourages us to do that. So we're gonna work on that today. And then we'll go out into Pluto. And then when we come back, we'll go to tarot. And when we're done with the tarot, we will do the magic. I don't know, if there's conversations going on Patreon where there are questions coming up, but if there are, just mention them to me, because otherwise I'll just keep talking.
Yeah.
And, if there are questions in this room, you can also just, wave madly or something, so I know you have a question, and I will stop what I'm saying so that I can work with whatever your question might be, because typically when you have a question or something to contribute, so everybody does, but they're just maybe not holding that Leo courage yet to say anything. So you can ask whatever you want. And we've got a lot. So let's talk a little bit about this journey that I was talking about. So it started in 2024 on January 6th at the new moon in Capricorn. And at the new moon in Capricorn, we did not magic, now I'm going to start doing my not jokes last time. I don't know how amusing I was last time, but I'm going to repeat them. So not that it was about like a vision board last time. It really wasn't. But it was just about planting seeds, because at the new moon, typically what we do is we plant seeds. And so with that, we did a little knot magic for protection, empowerment, whatever it was that we wanted to do. We did the knot, and we did it in an infinity loop, because we worked a lot with the numerology of the 8 of this year, because this year is an 8. So we talked about how, 8 represents an infinite energy going down to the deepest earth and going to the highest celestial regions. And we connected that to Capricorn. We connected that to Capricorn because Capricorn is also an 8. That's the number of Capricorn. And Capricorn rules time. So we are actually infinite and timeless, but Capricorn creates a little bit of a structure and container for us to build whatever we choose to build. So we started that at the new moon. And then shortly after, we had a Kazemi. I love that word. We had a Kazemi. That was the 20th. I can't believe that was this weekend. I don't know about you, but when I actively work with these moons, from the new moon to the full moon, I feel like it was 10 years since I've been here. And, you might not have that feeling yet, but I feel like we're expanding time, those of us who are really actively working with these lunations. And that includes the lunar chicks, because they're always here and they're amazing. And I'm very grateful to Lunar Fair, and I'm going to stay on topic. So,
We love you too.
We love you.
Okay, so back to the seriousness of Capricorn and the cazimi. So Pluto has been in Capricorn since 2008. And, some of you might not really remember back to 2008, but I do. There was a recession going on in the United States, and there was a lot going on from 2008 to the present time. Personally, I've had a lot of growth, death, rebirth, right? Because Pluto is a slow-moving planet. It sits somewhere for many years, and it gradually moves. It creeps up on us a little bit. It's a slow burn, I like to call it. So Pluto, a lot of people associate it with the god of the underworld, which is what the planet, and now they don't call it a planet anymore. In 1930, it was discovered and called a planet. And then a group of scientists decided it was too small to be a planet. But it's an action-packed, very powerful little ball of underworld energy. And so it's always somewhere in the sky. It's not like it's just appeared. These are my little disclaimers so you don't get so scared when I talk about Pluto. It's always been in the sky since the day you were born. It's gone through different places in your chart. But when it moves, it's kind of like we switch a station on a radio. Oh, do we do that anymore? Do you still use the radio? I do, sorry. Radio station for me. Whatever you're switching, I don't know what else you might switch, but you can figure something out. But when you shift something, when the shift happens, you might feel it. It's like a little bit of an earthquake with Pluto. So a lot of people associate it with the water element, but it's also a ball of fire. So to me, it's like the fire of water, and it wants us to go deep into our subconscious mind. It always wants us to do shadow work. So Pluto has been in Capricorn for a cycle since 2008. So maybe you can, this was your new moon assignment, but you could still do it. What have I gone through since 2008? I know for me, I could think of a lot of different things that have occurred. So once Pluto leaves Capricorn, it goes into Aquarius. Now what's going to happen, and this is the hero's journey. So for the majority of 2024, Pluto's going to be in Aquarius. And then it's going to take a quick trip back in September. And it's almost like, to me, it's going to comb through anything it forgot to take care of for us over the past 20 years, as though we've not had enough. No, I love Capricorns, but it can be a little constrictive energy. But it's gonna go from September till about November. It's gonna come back into Capricorn, and then it leaves. And then we have our Aquarian energy to 2043. So Pluto in Aquarius, we had a cazimi this weekend. So I always consider cazimi like the final hurrah. So what a cazimi is that a planet meets with the sun, and the sun enhances, magnifies, purifies, and explodes that energy. So you're going to get clarity, you're going to get insight, you maybe you'll get a little uncomfortable. Cazimis are not always pleasant, but they're a fun word. So Pluto was in its last phases just before it moves into the degree of Capricorn. I want to say it was like the 0 degree of Aquarius, rather. Just before that, it had one last hurrah. So on the 20th, at about 8:45 Eastern Standard, we had a cazimi with Pluto and Capricorn. So all that stuff we did on the new moon, I don't know what happened to you, but it was like an explosion. It was like an explosion because all Capricorn was also about just like getting rid of stuff systems that didn't serve us, looking at the structures that didn't work, setting intentions, and thinking about a plan of maybe how we're going to do things, but it was also very contemplative. So when that cazimi hit in Capricorn, it might have exploded. And I know for me, I'll relate it to my knot magic. So I did a knot magic connected to something I wanted to start working on. And I forgot what I did with my knot magic. And as soon as I did that, it was like, I had to start taking actions. I started I'm taking actions. I'll reveal my intent maybe at the end of the year, but I had to start taking actions or I felt really uncomfortable with myself. So that Pluto and Capricorn cazimi explosion, it really amplified that new moon energy, but also it amplified everything we've been going through. And the days leading up to that Kazemi this weekend might have been very heavy for you. Because remember, Pluto's the god of the underworld. So, I mean, some of you might be typing in, I'm feeling great, but I'm looking at the faces in this room and I feel like people are leaning towards that idea that Pluto was rather heavy. Okay, so I have a feeling I'm not the only one. So there is this heaviness because Pluto is also, it's Saturn's, so we had quite a combination because Capricorn is time, it's Saturn, it's about limitation, constriction, structure. Pluto is the son of Saturn. The son of Saturn. So the son of Saturn is just like Saturn, except no rules. It's all about chaos. So it'll teach you like Saturn, except it's going to be completely random and sometimes abrupt. So some of you might have had like a wake-up call, something happened or a realization occurred, and it was like this underworld deity like showed up right in your face. So that's what happened during that Kazemi. Well, what was leading up, and the Kazemi was really meant to perhaps provide a little enlightenment about your situation, whatever that was. And so we now move into Aquarius. A couple hours later on Saturday, we moved into Aquarian energy. So Pluto and Aquarius is an interesting thing.
Jonathan said everything after the Kazemi has been rough for him and lots of anxiety since Sunday.
Yes, Pluto is fear. I almost forgot to mention. I'm not cheering that you're having anxiety, Jonathan, but it's just that's part of what I want to mention. And so Pluto is not about logic. Pluto is about how you feel, and these feelings are coming from your subconscious, from the subterranean realms of you. So you may have an anxiety, and you might be triggered by something, or you might just not even know what it is, but you're feeling really uncomfortable. Some of us had external events that really exploded in our life, and some of us had events where they were non-events. They were like little things, and all of a sudden we're up at night thinking about something we're afraid of. And this is all Plutonian energy. And so, yeah, you know, now that it's in Aquarius, I'm not going to say happy days are here again, but I'm going to say that things are going to change. And anytime something makes a shift in the very beginning, some people will feel it. Actually, it really just depends on your astrology chart, how it hits you. But other people are going to not feel it right away. It's an overseeing energy. I almost called it an overlord. It's an overseeing energy. And so therefore, some of us, we're going to really feel it, and others may not feel that. There's so many other planets and things happening. But it was on a macrocosmic level a big deal. So Pluto and Aquarius, if you're watching anything, TikTok, Instagram, whatever you're doing on social media, you might have already heard that the last time Pluto was in Aquarius, we had the French Revolution, we had the American Revolution, Viva la Revolution. So it's almost like we had a mini revolution in our life. And if we were holding on to something, or if we are holding on to something, Pluto is going to come in like the enemy, I'm going to be honest, and challenge us to do better or do more or see more or believe in more. And once we do, you know, that part of it, I'm not going to say it's going to be a walk in the park, but there are lots of other planets to support you to transform into something different. So in the end, if we're here to grow, Pluto is an ally. Pluto is a total ally. And, you know, that's not only relating to us microcosmically, but on the macrocosm, there are a lot of systems and things that are completely failing right now. And that is part of the shift of ages. And it doesn't mean we sit around and do nothing, because that energy encourages us actually to be more active and do things about things that we see, whether that's in our personal life or on a bigger scale. So Pluto is encouraging us, and Aquarius is really encouraging us. Pluto is saying, face your fear. And Aquarius is saying, look at the bigger picture. Because Aquarian energy, regardless of what your astrological sign is, Aquarian energy is the eagle or the human. You know, it's actually the bigger picture. So Aquarian people, I love Aquariuses, they can be a little unpredictable sometimes. They're very into free thought. They're very fair. They're very open-minded. They're a fixed sign, but they're kind of like lightning bolts. And so imagine combining a lightning bolt with Pluto. It's quite an interesting thing, because what it does is it explodes those structures that Capricorn created and wants us to see things differently. And I know a lot of people also who are into astrology are talking about artificial intelligence being connected to Aquarius. And all kinds of technologies are connected to Aquarius. Aquarius is also connected to community. So Aquarius is encouraging us to see how we interact with the world around us. And for each of us with Pluto and Aquarius, it's going to have a different impact. And so we are, for the next year, on a new hero's journey. We had a Cazimi with Pluto in Capricorn on Saturday. Now, Pluto in Capricorn Cazimi will not occur for another 231 years. So yeah, you probably felt a little something. We're going to go through a cycle together. This is our journey together. I hope you stick with it for the whole thing. You don't drop off, right? We are going to take a journey that's going to end on January 25th. I'm not always good with dates, but somewhere around there, when we have another Cazimi, but it's going to be Pluto and Aquarius. So it's almost like we set something into motion at the new moon in the new energy of the new numerology of the new year, the new Gregorian year. Because if you are pagan or into Wicca, your new year would probably, you started it on Samhain on October 31st or November 1st. But for the numerology, that shifted. Whenever we shift something that has a vibration, it's going to change things. So we are on a journey within a journey. Pluto's a big 20-year thing, but we are in a year-long journey from one Cazimi to the next. Now, it's going to be a little chaotic. We're going to have a little bit of mixing and mashing of the planets. And as soon as we start to find our footing, it's going to be a little bit more like we're collaborating with these planetary energies. But part of that collaboration is going to mean you need to let go of your desire to control. Pluto really teaches us that, because Pluto is very connected to obsessive behavior. And so Pluto is going to have us look at our fears and our obsessiveness. And in some ways, Pluto is like the planet of chaos. So maybe if you're a Scorpio, that's a little more palatable, but you know, but it's chaos with a purpose, and the purpose is evolution. And so some of this moon magic that we're doing is so we can create change using our will. And that's a key that Leo is going to bring us tonight. And then some of it is going to be where we have to also allow the forces around us to do their thing and just find a way to navigate, not survive, not survivalism, but living and thriving and being joyful in the face of whatever's going on. And if we're in sorrow, being authentic, yeah, I'm sad. So that's a little bit of Pluto in a nutshell. If there are no questions, I'm gonna keep going. And I'm going to say a couple things about Pluto being in Aquarius, just little mile markers for you. So Pluto is moving forward from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 in the houses. If you want to know what Pluto was like in the house that you're just moving into, ask the previous astrology sign. So in other words, I have Pluto moving into my 7th house. So I would talk to a Cancer, because Cancer has had Pluto in their 7th house for 20 years now. And I would ask, how are your relationships going in the past 20 years? And they might say, well, 20 years is a long time for me to tell, but you know, they can tell me a little bit about the transformation. So that's one clue. Talk to somebody who's one sign before you. The other thing that you could do is look at the past 3 years, 2020 to 2023. Saturn was in Aquarius. It's just moved into Pisces recently. Well, March, not that recent. But so if you can remember 2020 to March of 2023, now I don't want to frighten you now, because I know some of you are going to think of what happened during that time. Maybe not the most delightful time for you. However, that's a little taste of what it went through. And I can relate to that, because when Saturn, which has a little more rules and regulations, was in my house of relationships, a lot of the way I relate to people has changed. And I can say that I have left that experience with some incredible people in my life that are just people I, would go to the ends of the earth for, and they would do the same for me. So it wasn't all bad. Maybe I'm telling myself that because now Pluto's going into that same house. So without further ado, I just want to read off, based on your rising sign. And if you don't know your rising sign, you can go by your sun sign, what Pluto means in each of the houses. Okay. So for Aries, it's in your 11th house. And actually 11 is the house of Aquarius. And so what it means is it's in the house of community for you. And if you're not, usually Aries are not, well, now I don't want to be an astrological whatever, rude. I don't want to be astrologically rude. But Aries, yeah, an ass. I don't want to be an ass with this astrology. But the Aries are often they do things on their own. They like to do things on their own. They are the ram, they just ram through things sometimes. Well, now their Pluto house is encouraging them to look at the group, any environments where they're in the group and how that looks and how they work with that and learn from that experience, So Pluto is also going to allow you to look at yourself and how you flow around other people. Pluto in the second house, Pluto in Taurus. Now I know we've got a few Tauruses here. Taurus is in the house. But no, yes.
Yeah.
Now what I'm going to say to you is this. Now don't get nervous because I'm saying what I'm going to say to you is this. But the fixed signs are supposedly going to have the most intense journey with Pluto. So that would be Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, and Leo. And so, hey, I'm a fixed sign too.
I blame you.
But tomorrow I'm gonna set out and move those stars. but anyways, it's a lot of transformation. So Taurus. Oh, I should also mention, Taurus people are like, oh my gosh, why are you stalling? Question. Oh, there's a question here, Maria. Yes.
What if you know how they say that the signs change in certain, like in the month?
A cusp? What if you're on a cusp?
Mine is the 16th. So what does that make me?
Oh, it makes you needing to go to an astrologer.
Because doesn't Aries and Taurus cut off?
Yeah, you could be on a cusp, and the best thing to do if you don't go to an astrologer is go on a free astrology website. And I know now I may say it wrong, and maybe we can put it on the conversation. Oh gosh, I'm going to try to say it. I should have put Astrodient. Astrodient. It's something like that.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of sites out there where you can plug in your information. It's going to tell you. But what might happen for those of you on a cusp is that you may be feeling, it's not double house or anything, but you may be feeling some qualities of each.
I don't really believe in cusp. I think it kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, the Scorpio speaks. And by the way, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, so I'm going to trust everything.
I mean, you can or not, but it just seems like where it is where it is. The next minute, it's something else.
Spoken like the fixed. So I agree. Yeah. So we'll listen to what's being said and see what you think. Okay. So back to Taurus. There's a lot of stalling before Taurus. Pluto is also the planet of riches. I meant to tell you that. Nice. So when you have Pluto go through your house and you're willing to learn the lessons and do the work of transformation and willingness to let go, there are rewards at the end. Not at the end of 20 years. Could be at the end of this year. Could be in a month. The more you do it, the more you're going to see I can't say the bright side of Pluto because I don't know if that exists, but you're going to see the riches of Pluto. Okay, Taurus. It's entering your house of career and reputation. And that is connected to Capricorn, actually. That's where Capricorn sits, is in that house. That's the house of Capricorn.
Wait, so this is the rising?
Yes.
So then it wouldn't be me.
Yeah, what's your rising?
Libra.
Oh, Libra, yeah. No, we haven't gotten to you yet. You're gonna. Oh no, I know you're a Taurus, and Taurus over there.
I'm all the Taurus.
She's all the Tauruses. And so Gemini, it's going to go through your 9th house, which rules a bunch of things. It's connected to Sagittarius, interesting enough, because that's our polar opposite. My sun is in Gemini. So Gemini rules travel. The 9th house rules travel, spirituality, exploring travel and spirituality and different types of means of communication. If you are Cancer, it's going to go into the house that Scorpio rules, which is death, rebirth, sexuality, occult, and the shadows. It's like now Scorpios are probably like, wow, that sounds great. I'd like to be there myself.
Yeah.
But as a Cancer, being ruled by home and the moon, you might be a little nervous. But it's also it's also water. It's watery energy. In a way, it's compatible with you, and there's a lot of insight you're going to get, and occult is part of it. So working with magic, being here tonight, if you're a Cancer, you're in the right place. You're in the right place. And then Leo, it's going to go into your 7th house, and that is the natural place of the 7th house is Libra. And it's all about relationships and things you associate with Venus. So your relationships are going to go through a rebirth. It doesn't mean everybody's leaving. I've told myself this so many times. It means, as a Leo, it just means that powerful people may be entering your life right now. And you may also look at the power dynamics of relationships, but it's not just about how people show up to you, it's how you show up to people. So you're going to start looking at yourself and how you're perceived in relationships. There's going to be lots of wonderful opportunities for you to see yourself reflected through the eyes of your loved ones. I don't know if I should say more. Privately, if you have more questions, we can go into it. But yeah, there's some sticky parts. And then for Virgos, it's actually going to go into the house that is, it's the house that we associate typically with, oh gosh, I have terrible handwriting. Pisces, Virgo, it's going to go into your 6th house. It's going to go into your 6th house. So that is, it's actually Virgo, it's going to be in your house. Virgo, it's going to be in the house of Virgo. Maybe that's why Virgo is not going to have a horrible time of things. But it rules, and that's where it just came out for me. But it rules your health, everyday situations. So, there might be an opportunity for emotional, physical, or mental healing. And 8th house people, just to something, those that's coming through the 8th house. Therapy is always a good thing. I'm not saying this. I mean, anytime, using spirituality is a good thing, but therapy, coaching, these are things that we can do if we're feeling the heaviness of the planets, just as an aside. So Libra, it's going through your 5th house. And this is actually it's actually the house of Leo that it's going through. And so it's about play, creativity, acting, exploration, sexuality. It's the house of fun and joy. Right? Although I don't know how joyful Pluto is, but you'll find out. No. So Scorpio, it's going now, just like Cancer may feel like a little crab out of water in, the Scorpio house. For Scorpios, Pluto's going through the Cancerian house of home. So it's going through your 4th house, and it's about home and family. So you might move over this 20 years, maybe you will move, but some circumstances might create movement for you. And also it's connected to the house of ancestors. So you may also deal with some family issues that maybe you weren't willing to look at. So again, therapy sometimes helps. But this is all good, in its own way. Sagittarius, This is going through your house of Gemini, the third house, which rules siblings, communication, how you express yourself. So you're going to notice that going on, and learning. You may start some new learning process. And then Capricorn, this is going through your Taurus, the house of Taurus. And so this is going through your money house. This is where you may find huge fortune, or the opposite. But it's a time maybe to work with a financial planner and to, just and look at your attachments around money and possessions. And then, of course, for those who are Aquarius, it's going through the house of Aries, the house of self. And so this is where you are going to be a totally different person at the end of these 20 years. Because when a planet goes through your first house, it's very intensive and it's hugely empowering. And so, you can talk to the Capricorns when the show is over and see what they think. But it really, it may create turbulence, but it also, on the other side of that, it creates huge enlightenment. And then for Pisces, because I don't think I mentioned Pisces, so I just want to make sure that I mention Pisces. For Pisces, it's going through your 12th house. And 12th house is typically associated with the unknown. It's kind of like the house of the underworld. This is all that is hidden. So this might be a time where you work a lot with spirituality and magic, and you may discover hidden aspects about yourself and about your life. And that's rather Piscean, if you ask me anyway. Pisces like to swim around. So you'll continue that journey with Pluto. Any questions before we continue on?
Just some cancers bonding in the chat. But.
Okay, a little Cancer. They always like to do that, don't they, those Cancers? They're nice, like little marshmallows. Unless you upset them, then they're kind of hard shell. But yeah, so the Cancers can bond, and we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the moon. So this is a really opportune time where we're learning about Pluto. Maybe we're a little nervous. It's a whole new year. We're feeling perhaps a bit heavy. This is a time for Leo energy to really support us. Leo is the key right now to rise beyond the limitations that maybe we have set for ourselves so that we can really shine. And so the moon in Leo, Aquarius, now I'm going to say this about the astrology right now that's going on. There's a lot of oppositions going on. There's a lot of squares and all kinds of other things that I'm not going to get into the depth of. What it's encouraging us to do is get beyond how we feel, but don't avoid how we feel. So it's, how do I feel right now? And then how can I shift and transform that? What can I do to let go of whatever I'm feeling that's fear-based and really shine from my heart? And so, there's this idea of the guardians or keepers of the flame. And I will talk a little bit about, I'll give a Celtic example of it, the goddess Bridget. So before she was a saint, she was a goddess. And there was this concept that she had 19 priestesses that all watched the fire. And they watched the fires. They had a fire that was consistently burning until a lot of nasty things happened when Christianity came in, I'd be honest. There's a lot that happened to extinguish the fire, and then now the fire burns again. But her fire represented the eternal flame of the heart. And so by watching and keeping the fire going, it meant that the world would continue flowing, and the fire is our passion for being creative and expressive. The fire is what gets us through these Plutonian times. So your heart chakra, your heart is what we want. And that Pluto is all about heart. A Plutonian slip, I must say. But Leo is all about the heart chakra. And so when Leo is distorted or working with the lower aspects, the more dense aspects, Leo can be all about themselves and very selfish and into the drama, and all of those things can happen when we're working with the distortions of Leo. However, At the heart of Leo is the heart. And when we keep our heart flame burning through this time, through this year, through this journey, we can always go back to it. So, you know, this may sound trite. I've had my dark nights. I've had my dark days. And what I do is I always remember what's in my heart. Like when I get really scared or attached to something and I don't want to let it go and I don't know what's on the other side, in my heart, I know my flame still burns and I'm going to be okay. And it's going to be okay as long as I can get into that place. And a lot of times, you know, we have wounding around our heart. So we associate Leo also with the child. And so that Leo rules also the inner child. And so when we work with the Leo energy, we have to look at where we feel hurt. And we don't have to be logic and rational about our hearts. That's not it. But when we can get through all that, inside of all that is a flame that never extinguishes. So if you can have, you know, that light, right, you will get through whatever your journey is and beyond. Because bottom line is, we are not here to be comfortable. And that heart, that fire, it will keep us going in a state of joy and flow, no matter what's going on. While we can be practical and realistic with Pluto and Aquarius, we can always also have our heart. There's nothing wrong with going to that space of surrender and understanding that better days are to come. And they will. What is that? Oh. Okay. So that being said, we're going to move now into the spell work. We're going to, you know, just, you know, that just, I want you to understand that the Leo energy is connected to the heart chakra. So that is connected to the card of strength. And I suggested you have the card of strength around you and continue to have that card of strength around you. That's the card of this year, is the 8. So that strength, that strength, that love, the strength is in love. Love is not always this very fluffy kind of thing. Love is very intense. The things we need to do out of love for ourselves and love for others sometimes are uncomfortable. Love is an energy. It's not an emotional attachment. And so the more we connect to that strong energy, the more we're going to transform. So is everybody ready for our heart flame spell?
Yeah.
No questions or anything else. So one of the things I asked you to do was to journal what you wanted to let go of. And so I did tell you to do that. You do not have to do this, but if you want, you can rip the page out of your journal and rip it up. And for those here, I'm going to have Camelia guide that. Everybody can put their flame into the cauldron. She's not going to say anything. She's just going to take your piece of paper and throw it into the fire. We're going to let go of whatever we need to let go of. And those of you who are at home, you're going to just use the fire, open the door, and just everybody go to the cauldron and drop your paper into the fire. Now, while everybody here is dropping their paper into the fire, we're going to ask the people at home who maybe don't want to light something on fire to shred up anything they're ready to let go of, and also to imagine that the flame of their heart is going, you know, to release whatever does not serve. This is a really simple spell. Okay. Now, once we're done with that, I'm going to ask that you at home, you have a candle. That was what you were asked to have. You're gonna light your candle. Now, this is a simple spell, but it's going to help. Okay, and then I need that lighter. And for those of you here, you might have picked a special candle. Yes, you might have picked a special candle. And if you didn't, I've got extra candles here. Now, these candles are from the new moon in Leo. August 16th, we had our Gothic Cowboy celebration at Lunar Fair. So those of you who don't have a candle, I've got candles for you over here. They were blessed during the yep, you can take your candle. They were blessed during the new moon spell. Oh, this was lit actually, just a short lit. It was a tiny little flame. Now I put it out. Okay. And I want you to light your flame. I'm going to give you the lighter. I'm going to pass it around. You're going to light your flame. All right. So you're going to light your candle, and those of you at home, I want you to just stand in your power and focus on your flame, and also on whatever it is that you wish to create or build in your life, how you want to shine in your life. And if you have an object representing that, you can have it in your hand or you can have it in front of you so you can see it. So those who are here, once you're done lighting your stuff and letting go, you're going to take your object, whatever it was, and make sure you have it in your vision. And make sure you have your candle flame in your vision. Because Aquarius is about the vision. And you can hold it if you're tactile, or you can just, as long as you can see it. And for those of you who don't have a candle, you should all have a candle, light your candle.
Jonathan asks, can you write down a short-term intention?
Absolutely. It's your spell. It's your magic. And here's the thing, you can do this again and again, because what you're going to do is with this candle, never let it, just before it goes out, take the wick of the candle you have lit right now and use it to light candles throughout the year so that this candle eternally will burn. This candle is for one intent right now, but you can use the wick of your candle before it goes out, don't burn it to the end, to light another candle. So that wick is a forever wick till, yes, okay, till next year. Till our next Kazumi.
And what are we envisioning with this?
So you're going to focus on the candle, and the first thing I want you to do is relax your mind. So just take a nice deep breath and just start bringing your focus to the candle, and notice how you're feeling right now, because Leo's about right now. So I want you to notice what's going on with your body and your emotions. As you watch the candle, focus on yourself. Now I want you to start breathing in and breathing out. And as you focus on the candle, and as your mind relaxes because you're breathing in and breathing out, you're breathing in the candle's energy and you're breathing out anything that does not serve. Do you have your candle? Yeah. Light it. As you're breathing in and breathing out, I want you to imagine that the flame is expanding. The flame is expanding. See the flame, and when you're ready, I want you to close your eyes and still see that flame. See or feel the flame. So when you feel ready, you're going to bring that flame into your third eye, into your Aquarian vision. And you're going to close your eyes, and now the candle flame is in your third eye. And I want you to breathe. Breathe and breathe it into your heart chakra so that the flame of the candle is in the flame of your heart. And as you breathe, it's burning away all the stuff that you have let go of through journaling, paper, whatever you did. Breathing in and out. You may even feel that infinity loop moving through your body, going up from the bottom of the earth, through your heart to the highest of the heavens, and then back down. But either way, that flame of your heart is now connected to the flame of the candle, and the candle is expanding. The flame is expanding. You are the flame. You are the flame. And now you're going to imagine the flame extends to what you wish to attract, and it burns away everything else, everything that's all obstacles. The flame is now in your intent. And if you're holding the candle, you can put when you're ready, when you've connected to your intent and you feel the flame of your intention, it's lit, you're lit, literally, you're going to put the candle down if you have it in your hands. And you're going to put your hand on your heart and look into the candle. Put your hand on your heart and look at the candle. And you're going to repeat after me. Leo moon
Leo
and flames of my heart
and flames of my heart,
together
together,
create a new start.
create a new start.
With the power of the candle and my flame,
With the power of the candle and
my flame within,
my flame within,
all obstacles are over,
all obstacles are over,
and my lion strength begins.
and my lion strength begins.
With this flame,
With this flame,
I attract
I attract
self-love,
self-love,
success,
success,
and my desire.
and my desire.
And now you can state your desire. You can do it quietly if you're in a crowded room. But if you're by yourself, state your desire with the strength of a Leo. Repeat. This power grows
This power grows
each time I light or focus on the element of fire.
each time I light or focus on the element of fire.
As I will,
As I will,
so mote it be.
so mote it be.
End your spell with some gratitude, quietly, silently giving thanks to everything, including the lessons. And the spell is complete. When you're done with your gratitude, the spell is complete. You're going to burn the candle to the end or light it on a daily basis until it's down to the end. And you're going to use it before it's completely down to light another candle and keep this going. You don't have to say all these words again. The spell begins today. Our journey, our hero's journey with this energy begins today. Keep your picture somewhere you can see it every day. Keep your object or picture, whatever, or what you wrote down, somewhere you can see it every day. You can attach it to your mirror if you want. And every time you do, connect it to your heart. When you feel discouraged, remember this. Candles are great for depression. Really good. Because that fire is a really good way to expel other things. Our spell is complete. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Happy Leo full moon. I can't wait for we're now prepared for the dragon's flame, which comes next when we celebrate the new moon in Aquarius in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Lunar Fair, for making this happen. Even when it's cold outside, we can do our flame. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I'll stay on for another 2 minutes if people have questions. Otherwise, you can turn off whatever you need to turn off.
Okay, yeah, she'll just be around.
I'll be around for a couple of minutes.
I like that sound.
This.
Thanks so much. Everyone just saying thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really feel everybody's flame right now. We were just discussing in this room. We feel your flame. We feel your flame.
What if I use my candle to light incense? Is that?
Oh, yes. Use your candle to light incense.
No,
That's a
good, right?
great idea. Then you can bring it to the element of air. That's
Awesome.
wonderful. You can expand it like Aquarius with the air.
All right, cool. I like still feel my heart. I'm doing something. It's weird.
We started something.
That's all, folks.
Okay.
Bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank you all for coming.